My name is Anna Zadorozhная. I'm watercolor artist, Schmincke and Da Vinci brand ambassador, also book author, and a great fan of watercolor. Watercolor is my love, and I'm happy that you joined today, whether it's morning like in Canada or whether it's evening like in Germany. So I hope it will be a good Friday for all of us. And about some technical details, I will start with my speech about super-granulating watercolors, what's granulation, how to use it, what are the specialties, and so on and so on. It will last about 15-20 minutes. I don't think it will last more. And then after this theory lecture, we are going to paint. So today I have chosen a great subject. It will be mountains, and it will be mountains from Antarctica. So I hope that you will love this demo and this information. I'm starting the first theory part about granulation, and today this lecture will be in the form of Q&A because many people want to know about granulation, what it is, and so on. So people write in direct, people ask comments. So I have made a list of these questions, and I will be answering them step by step. So I will. And the first question is, what is granulation? So granulation is the visibly clear appearance of pigment particles on an uneven texture on the paper. What does it mean when we are talking not with these terms, but in case of watercolors, certain pigments tend to granulate, to form small dots and groups of flakes that are visibly noticeable on the paper. Exactly this effect is called granulation. And one more thing for some of you who don't know some technical terms, generally watercolor a watercolor paint consists of pigment. Simply, it's a powder and a binder, gummi arabica. So when we're talking about pigment, it's a powder that forms the watercolor paint. And the second question is about the our concept super-granulation and granulation different, and what's the difference between the standard granulating and super-granulating watercolors. And yes, these are different concepts. I'll try to explain and show you on this dot card. Standard is the usual watercolor paints that we all use, and they create an even and mostly transparent texture on the paper. But some pigments cannot be ground so finely that they can form a uniform color layer without losing color intensity or light fatness. And there we go to the granulating colors. In the dot card, I will take closer. In the dot card, they are marked by G. So when you see G, it means that color granulates. So I have told you about standard, about granulation, and what's super-granulation. It's a concept of Schmincke watercolor paints, which I'm showing today. The principle was to select pigments that are granulating by their own nature. In the super-granulation, Schmincke used the principle of combining at least two different pigments, which are highly granulating by themselves. And they also look harmonious together. So here are the swatches of the series, and you can see that it's called granulation. It's called super-granulation. And talking about Schmincke and about paints that I will be painting today, there are now 50 colors in this line. So it was 40, now it's 50, and all are available in tubes, in pans, in sets, and so on. They are divided into series, thematically named. So the series are desert, shire, haze, deep sea, tundra, volcano, urban, galaxy, forest, and glacier. Yeah, I understand it's many, but yeah. So each set contains 5 colors. So there are 10 sets and 50 colors. By the way, I was the illustrator for all these set covers. So basically, these are my paintings here on the covers. And I hope that now it's more understandable about the super-granulation. In what does it mean? So here are all the swatches of all of these series. And the next question is, if I mix it, the granulating or super-granulating color with non-granulating watercolor, will the mix granulate? Yes, and it's very important to understand about the granulation, that when you mix some granulating paint with non-granulating, the whole mix will granulate. And also the question was if I mix super-granulating watercolor with gouache. Will this mix granulate? Yes. So all the super-granulating watercolors could be mixed with standard watercolors, with gouache, so with every water-soluble colors. So the next question: what makes the granulating effect more, and what makes the effect of granulation less? For more granulation, there are 2 important rules. It's the texture of the paper. So the texture of the paper directly affects the forming of granulation. And if you have rough paper, then the granulation will be more visible. And the second important rule is that super-granulation loves water. So when you paint with super-granulating paints, try to paint them wet on wet. And I will show you today how it's done. And the effect will be more visible. What to do if you want to make super-granulating color look less granulating? I don't know why you need this, but in these cases, you should use very dense consistency. And also in these cases helps distilled water, but I think that if you need less granulation, you should rather take normal standard finely ground watercolor. Is textured paper necessary for getting the super-granulation effect? It's a good question because generally it's not necessary. You can paint on every paper, but the more textured paper you have, the more the effect will be seen. So it's rather so I prefer, when painting with super-granulating, I prefer to use rough paper, but I also paint many on grain thin paper, and also this granulation is visible. Sorry, I need to, for the answer on the next question, I need to show you the paintings. Where it's my paintings, so where could be used this effect? The first is to vary textures. So for example, here you can see that it's very even wash, and to make it look more interesting, I used these paints here. I think it's Galaxy Violet, and also like here in some places, here you can also see that the paint super-granulates. It's very pity that it could be not so clearly seen on the camera, but in life I can see these gorgeous textures. So I'm showing you very closely and hope that you will see it. Yeah. And then what's about this effect? It's textures that could be seen in the ordinary life. For example, here you can see that I used super-granulating paints, and in these textures we can see, for example, rust, moss, plaster bricks, some rough surfaces, and so on. You can see it. The next is where you can use it is the dark areas next to light ones, because granulate mostly dark colors, and granulation can work as a way of creating additional contrast in tone. And here you can see that this is non-granulating, and here it's like gorgeous. It's great, this effect. So also, I hope it's now clear for you why I love these super-granulating paints, because I often say that they paint by themselves, so it's just wet on wet, and these textures you cannot do them with the standard colors, and I think it's very beautiful. So, and also here, and when you look at the painting, you cannot see these directly, but when you look closer, you can see it. And the last way to use super-granulating colors, it's to paint grisaille when you need some shades of gray and another neutral grayish color, so it just look more interesting. Yeah, moment, I will get off my paintings from my table and skip book also, and there are not so many questions left. In what cases non-granulating paints can granulate? So the first is when mixing with granulating papers or granulating paints. And also there is a kind of granulation spray that can make non-granulating paint to granulate, but I prefer to use ready colors. Then the particles of the pigments is bigger, heavier than in the fine pigments. Yes, so it's the physics of the process. Then when we have this textured paper, these more heavier pigment fall into the parts, into the holes in the paper. So that's why it's better to use textured paper. The next question, is it suitable to paint different subjects than the series name? For example, I want to use deep sea color in the painting of a forest. Of course, of course. These series are thematically named, but there is, of course, you can use every paint wherever you want. And so today, for example, I will be painting like mountains, and I will using series tundra, glacier, and volcano. So it's up to you. So the next question, can I paint the painting using only super-granulating series, but not using some other paints? Yes, of course you can. All the covers of the series were painted like this way. So when I painted, for example, urban, I used only these 5 colors, and in all series were used for illustration, we used only the colors from the series, but super-granulation look best when it has a contrast with the regular colors. This isn't the first time I'm making a demo dedicated to super-granulation, and in these demos I always use both super-granulating and non-granulating series. Yeah, so here today I'll be using normal series and super-granulating series. Why? The next question was a little surprise for me. Why are so many super-granulating paints in the series? And I don't know how to answer it correctly, but it's the question why manufacturers produce many paints, because they're different. They're different in tone, they're different in behavior, they're different in pure form, they are different in many terms. So they're different. And by the way, I have made sometimes I use black from the Glacier series, sometimes I use black from Tivze, sometimes from Galaxy, because they are different. Why it's called Haradam? What does this mean? Haradam is a surname of Schmincke founder who generally launched watercolor series. And all professional watercolor series by Schmincke, I hold Schmincke Haradam, Haradam Aquarelle. Haradam Aquarelle. It marks that it's a professional watercolor series name, and that's what the surname of the founder. What's better in the case of granulating paints, tubes or pans? It depends on the size of your painting and on your own choice. I prefer to use tubes, but I know many people who also use pans, so up to you. There is no difference because the series are produced so the content of the tubes and pans are the same. And the last question, what are your favorite colors from this series? I love them all. But of course, I have, as an artist, I have my own preferences, and I have swatched the colors that I have in my base palette. So my base palette is the palette that stands on my table, and so these colors are Galaxy Pink, Tundra Violet, Galaxy Blue, Glacier Green, Deep Sea Green, Galaxy Violet, Glacier Black, Deep Sea Indigo, and Haze Pink. Okay, so I use a lot of them. And of course, I use other series and other colors, just squeezing on the palette within by drops. So I have fresh paints, and that's it. So congrats to you. You have successfully listened to this theory part. And I will show you the swatches one more time. So I don't know, I love them. So they are gorgeous. And even on the camera, when looking closer, and also in these cycles, I didn't swatch the urban, but yeah, here it is. And here's the urban line. So the theoretical part is over. About the questions, Pamela, what do you think? It will be better that I'll answer all the questions after the painting part or now? So what do you think? Please tell me.
Well, how about we just answer a couple now and then we can leave the rest for later?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I'd like to read out Steph's question here. How do you get max granulation? Drop paint into water or let it run and leave it alone? Or dilute it in paint on, then spray with medium? How do you get these paints to granulate to their max?
To the max, it should be like max water, like really max. And I'm squeezing from the tube. And I'm mixing a little tube for paint from the tube in the water, and then I apply it to my sheet. I will show you today how do I get this max granulation. About granulation spray, so I don't use it often, but I know that there is such possibility. So I showed you just for you to know that there is such granulation spray in case you need it. I will briefly tell you about what we are painting today and what materials we need. About the paints. I prefer to use not so many paints because it's easier for me and for you also. So today I will use 3 colors from the super-granulating series. It's Glacier Turquoise, Tundra Pink, and Volcano Brown. And from a standard assortment, I will use Ultramarine Finest and Sepia Brown Radish. For the brushes, oh, they're wet. So for the brushes today, and this is my standard set, so I use it like everywhere. You need some rather big flat brush for applying the water, for applying like big washes. You need some round brush for washes. For me, it's Da Vinci Casaneo, but if you have squirrel or something like some round brush for washes. Then I have Da Vinci Dartana. It's the brush for details, and it's my mostly used brush because it has a very sharp tip. And also I have here today is Da Vinci Collineo. It's imitation of Kolinsky, but I need some flat brush just to water. So basically 3 brushes are enough. The 4th is just for. And also pencil, can for water, palette, paper. I'm today I will be painting on Hennemühle, the collection watercolor. It's my main working paper, and I use it for all paintings. That texture is rough, and it's 300 grams, and it's like 24 and 32. The reference. So today I prepared for you the reference photo from Antarctica. It's my photo. I was in Antarctica last year, and I was thrilled by these landscapes and these natural beauty. And today I'm happy that we'll be painting together Antarctica. So I think that you should see the reference. You should see the paper, and you should see that palette. Is everything clearly seen? Yeah.
Yes, looks good.
Yes, super. Thank you, Pamela. And also we will need paper towels to wipe away unnecessary paint. Okay, so I begin to make a pencil sketch. And I have rather big line of snow here, so I have decided to make it less visible. And I know about the problem that there is not so clearly seen the pencil on the sketch. So please tell me if you don't see anything. I'm trying to push harder with the pencil, but I'm not sure if it works. And I'm applying just silhouettes of what I see here. I'm not a big fan of making like very detailed pencil sketch because I like to paint with watercolors. So I try to make the pencil sketch as simple as it could be. And I'm now marking the areas where I will have my stones. Do you see something on the paper? Oh no, I'm worried.
We can see the lines, they're just faint.
Uh-huh. Okay, I will, when I will finish this, I will get it closer, but now I cannot make something with this. And so now I'm marking the areas where I have shadows and where I have the stones. So I will do the rest with the paints. But now I'm just marking. Okay, so yeah, so now it's in, yeah? Yeah. And I begin to paint, and I always begin to paint with the sky. And I'm applying just a moment. I have noticed that I have this excess pencil line, and I want to erase it. And I'm applying just clean water. And why I need this clean water? Because moment. I need the sharp edge of my mountains. And when we are talking about watercolor, the watercolor gets blurry edges when we have water. So if the sheet is dry, the paint will not flow to the direction that we don't want to. And I'm mixing ultramarine. with the sepia brown. And that's what I talk about, that I try to mix super-granulating and non-granulating colors. The sky is not the most important place here, so I don't want it to granulate so much, because I want to make contrast. I'm just applying paint. And this process is called wet on wet. So I have wet paper and I have rather wet paint with lots of water, so it's transparent. And now I simply mix my pigment with the water, so it will look more natural. And also I have here like some darker areas, some darker clouds. So I want to add a little bit of darker areas here, and the colors are the same. It's sepia brown and ultramarine finest, and they give us this very neutral gray. And again, I'm blushing this. In some cases, for this purpose, I use a brush that is originally made for makeup, but now I simply use this. Okay, so the sky, as I said, is they're not the most important part here. So I have applied the sky, and now I want to lift some paint, some excess paint, and yeah. Okay. And now I want to make this stripe here, stripe of the snow, also wet on wet. So again, I'm applying this clean water, washing my brush, and you can see that originally on the reference photo, this is rather pinkish. And when I looked at this photo, I decided that I want it to be pink. So, and I'm applying, and you can see that it's wet on wet. It's like lots of water. Maybe I think I need to have more to dry here, more fresh paint. And also some glacier. And I like this combination when pink and blue, they look very I think good together. And again, washing it. Yeah, I think yeah. Now I will make the stones, these stones, using the volcano brown, because it gives this gorgeous texture of the stone, and it's like really perfect for it. And for granulation to work properly, we need water, but we don't want our paint to to flow everywhere. So we are applying some places where we have stone. We are applying clean water. It's for granulation to work. This is volcano brown. And I apply this volcano brown. And my sky is not wet, so my paint flows. So I will yeah, it's a quick solution when you have not so dry paper and you need to immediately dry it. And the hair dryer is a very good option in this case because it helps to control the paint. And I hope that you see it. Look. I'm thrilled by this process when you just apply paint and it begin to look, it begin to work, it begin to granulate, and it's rather less controllable process, I would say, but it's so gorgeous that I cannot express my love, but I'm enjoying this process when it begins to form this texture. And the next part. So the process is the same. I again apply the water and then I apply the paint. And don't worry, it's just the first wash. And we will be adding details when later. But I have forgotten to paint, to draw with the pencil these, so I will do it with the brush. I'm not trying to repeat every stone I have here, so it's not necessary to repeat all the details that you see on the reference exactly in these places, but sometimes I find it useful. The details later. Now I will apply these big stone massive, and also I am applying water. So I'm doing it automatically, and I have noticed that I'm just telling you now, but I'm doing it automatically because if I want my watercolor super-granulating series to granulate, I always apply water. And it's very important because without water you won't receive the result you want. And now I'm taking the bigger wash brush and I'm mixing volcano brown with tundra pink. So the question was how to get max super-granulation exactly like this, like mixing two super-granulating paints and you have the result that will granulate like even more. Now I'm mixing more dense paint, taking a smaller brush with a more controllable tip and applying on the edge of my Now I'm wiping the paint because here is this light stripe. It's also snow, but I don't want it to be simply white because it's not white. So that's why I'm wiping some parts. And now I'm looking that my painting has enough tone. So in some places, because watercolors are transparent, but I don't want everything in my painting to be super transparent. So just apply some modern paint in some areas. Now I will cover this water. I'm using here the same color I used in the sky. So it's the mix of ultramarine and sepia, too dark. When I have too dark, simply wipe it off. And in every watercolor painting, there is some process when you need to, some time when you need to stop and to dry the sheet because the paper begins to dry and it's better to dry the sheet and then so now I'll use a hair dryer, I think for 1 minute, so okay, and before applying the shadows, I want to show you closer this texture, and it really looks like many small stones. I don't know, so I hope that you will see it. And I'm continuing my details. So now I will apply these shadows, and for these purposes I will use these Glacier turquoise. I love the connection of colors between turquoise and rose, and I use it rather often and I love it. I'm taking two brushes, one with the clean water and the other with the paint. Why do I need it? Because I will apply in some places, I want to apply paint wet on wet, in some places dry on wet, so and I'm applying and softening the edges with the water. In some places, I just apply without softening. And again, as previously in the stones, I don't want to make exactly this amount of shadows and so on. I'm just looking where I have darker places and trying to create this feeling of that snow. Maybe there are some questions because I love to paint and talk, and I don't know what to comment here except that I'm applying the shadows, and it's a process that takes a little time. So maybe if there are some questions, I can answer to them now. So
Yeah,
maybe.
sure. I can ask you a few questions that have come up in the chat. So there's a technical question about darkening granulation layers. So you mentioned that the paper needs to be wet for the granulation to happen.
Yeah.
Would it be possible to darken the sky if you wanted to by adding a
It's
second layer?
you mean now or you mean later?
Yeah, like once the sky was dry, could you go in and re-wet it and add another layer to add
Yeah.
more
Yes,
layers?
yes, I have understood. Yeah, it depends very much on your paper. I'm painting on 100% cotton, and my paper allows me to do the second layer without interventing much into the previous layer. But all papers are different, and some papers allow to do this, and some not. So if you don't understand whether it would work or no, so you should simply test whether your paper can allow you to do this. But generally, yes.
Yeah, Anna, you're using a very beautiful watercolor paper today. The rough honey mule, 100% cotton. If any of you have not yet tried this paper, I highly recommend it. It's really quite beautiful to work on. And
Yeah.
if you want to put a wash on over your painting first, could you use granulating paints, or would you suggest just using regular paint? Will the background granulation be lost if you paint over it?
No, it won't be lost because now I will add later. I will add some layer here, on the layer previously covered with super-granulation, and it will be seen. Yes, it will be covered, but it will be seen. Of course, it depends on the density of the paper that you apply up, but there is no problem.
Thank
So
you.
these stones, yeah, this is the first wash, and when I finish with these shadows, I will apply the second layer. So.
And the pink color at the very bottom of your painting, what
Mhm.
what pigment did you use for that?
Tundra rose in pure form. Here is tundra rose. So that's why I'm showing super-granulation colors, because they are beautiful in pure form, and they are beautiful in mixes. For example, I know that if I mix tundra pink with glacier turquoise, I will get these grayish, greenish, pinkish color, and it's also gorgeous. Not all of them mix together in a beautiful mixes, but most of them. So now I am adding some ultramarine in my glacier turquoise and a little bit of sepia. I want some darker color for shadows, and in some places where you can see on the reference, in some places I apply these darker shadows. Always funny that watercolor is about controlling the water. The water on your paper, the water on your brush, and also why I love to paint in the demos, because I understand something when I'm commenting to you. And I understood now that I am applying my brush with the water every time, and I'm doing it automatically because I need to control the amount of the water. If you are struggling with watercolor and you don't understand how to make it, just try to understand the principles of controlling water, and everything will be great.
So Anna, we're painting this beautiful, you're painting this beautiful winter scene, but if you were to paint a beach, what color would you choose?
I would choose some yellow ochre, and I will choose, if we're talking about super-granulation, I will choose something from a volcano. So they have gorgeous yellows. In urban, there is also good yellow, and in desert, of course. So
Interesting. Thank you.
you're welcome. Okay, so I think I have finished to paint the shadows on the snow. Ah, not finished, but practically finished. Okay. And now I will begin to paint to make the details on the stones, because now it looks beautiful, but definitely unfinished. And for this, I will use sepia brown, and I will mix some volcano brown in my sepia. The paint should be dense, and because I have rather dark paint, the granulation will not be visible now. So now I am beginning to make the details. So here is these parts that I was talking about in my lecture part, that if you don't have much water, your paint will granulate really less. And I'm smudging it with my finger. I don't know why, just just I'm used to it. And I'm applying this dark paint not on all places, so just to create the feeling of the stones. And by the way, now I'm using the technique that is called dry brush. When I have really dense paint and I lift it off with the towel, place my brush practically horizontally, and in this case, there is this nice texture. And by the way, now I create this complicated form. And adding some dark paint on the bottom of my stones. And for details like this, you really need a brush with a very sharp, controllable tip. So it will allow you to paint these small details precisely. So.
And Anna, what size of round brush are you using today?
When we're talking about the sizes of the brushes, it's always very difficult to answer because I can give you the exact number. Yeah, it's number 7. But all these numbers are different within the manufacturers. And even within different lines of the brushes, they are also different. I can tell you in millimeters. It's about I think 4 millimeters maybe. It's for this Watercolor brush. I know that on DaVinci site there is a technical specification with all the numbers of all the sizing and so on. So it's called like sizing charts or something like this. And I think that it's always better to use the size in not the size of the brush, but the size in millimeters or so. And also when applying these darker parts, I try to not to cover the places where the granulation is really visible and really beautiful. So I'm using these dark colors to make contrasts, but of course I try not to cover all my super granulation with this layer. It was the question if the granulation is not visible upon the next layer. Depends on the paint you apply. So now I have like dense paint. So now I want to add details quickly. What should I do? I'm taking some not necessary paper. It can be paper towels. I use these Honeymoon blocks, the paper that covers the new block. And I'm covering all the areas. I don't want to be covered with the paint because now I will splash. I will splash with dark paint, so I mix like sepia, volcanic brown, maybe some ultramarine. I just want to add texture. And I'm placing my brush, I think about 5 centimeters. By the way, in Canada is centimeters, yeah? Not inches or inches.
It really depends on the person.
Okay, because I'm using metric system and I'm using centimeters, so it's about 5 centimeters. I don't know how many in inches. And I'm sticking on my brush to create more texture. And in some places, I add more dark paint, even more, but not in all places. My hand is in the paint, it's okay. But when my hand is in the paint, I try to remove it immediately because I can place my wrist and it will be on my painting and I don't want it. So in such cases, I try to remove it fast. And now I'm looking on the whole painting and adding some details in some places with a really dark paint.
And Anna, do you ever do any plein air painting? You seem to have a very good understanding of not only the paint, but the landscape.
It's a tough question because I paint plein air, but I paint these sketches and don't show them to anyone because they are for me. They are for the mood, maybe for the color, but mostly I paint studio works because uh, in studio conditions the wind doesn't blow, the paper dries, I know how paper dries, and so on and so on. So I paint plein air, but not so much.
Interesting. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome. So just these final touches. Um,
And then there's a question here that I'll read out to you. V's wondering how you decide which blues to use in the sky, snow, and water. Do you have a preference?
Uh, if we are talking about super-granulating colors, then I look at the pigments and because some of the super-granulating paints blue have the green pigment in the composition. So I decide whether I should mix it or no. And if I'm mixing it with some other paints, for example, cadmium orange, it could give me some not so beautiful mix. So it depends on the subject I'm painting, and it depends also on the I don't know, preference of the hue and the subject generally. And in every painting, there is a moment. It's very hard to stop because now I feel that I should stop, but I'm adding some details and so on. So maybe I should stop now. And when I'm not sure if I should stop or I should so I'm standing, so I was painting, I was sitting, I'm standing. I think it looks good. I think that this painting is finished. It's also a very curious effect when you look on your painting from the camera. And the camera shows, because I was sitting and I was thinking that I should add more and more and more. Now I'm standing and I'm looking on my painting through the camera, and I can see that it's enough. So I have finished my painting part. I think that now I should change the screen to my face.
For Canna.
Thank
Really,
you.
really amazing to see you create the painting from start to finish. There's lots of kind little comments and gratitude coming to you from people at the demo in the chat. There are a few questions. Karen's wondering if you always dampen your blending brush before touching the paint.
Not always, but I try to keep it clean because if it will be we in another paint. And now when I'm painting well with like brown and blue and they mix together and create kind of gray, it's no problem. But I try to keep it rather clean, because it's watercolor and watercolor is transparent, and when you have like dirty brush or dirty water, and I usually change the water for painting I think every 30 minutes. So now I didn't did it, but usually I do it.
Thank you. And is pan or tube paint better for granulating colors? Robin's wondering.
I have answered this question, but in case of Schmincke, it doesn't matter because the paints, the composition are the same, both in tubes and in pans. So the pans, Schmincke, I was at the Schmincke factory, and the pans are poured and dried 4 times. So they are full with paint, but the pigments and the composition are the same. So it doesn't matter. I prefer tubes, so somebody prefer pans, so it's up to you.
Thank you. In your studio, do you use a sunlight lamp, or is there a what kind of light do you use in your studio?
Yes, in studio I use the lamp. It's called daylight. It's kind of professional lighting for artists. I'm good with it. Now I'm using 2 lights, so you can see better, because now it's like 10:30 in Germany and it's dark. But for my purposes, the daylight lamp is totally enough.
Thank you. Margaret would like to have you come back to do a woodland scene sometime with the granulating colors.
I'm always happy to do demos. Thank you.
I love it.
I think that it looks good.
Yeah, it looks really nice. And then I'm scrolling through and there's lots of thank yous. I think we've come to the end of the questions now. It was really nice to see the pigments in action. Folks, if you can make it to a Opus store, we do have them at our demo stations. You can always ask to test them if you're able to visit the store. We always love to have them on sample because they truly are a one-of-a-kind paint. How they granulate is absolutely beautiful to see in person. We can see Anna's work and the granulation on the video, but there's nothing quite like that tactile experience of using the paints. So Anna, thank you so much for joining us. I know it's early evening where you are right now. And everyone for logging in. It's always a pleasure to be here with all of you, whether it's evening, middle of the afternoon, early morning. I hope that the rest of your time is creative or restful, and to see you again sometime in the future.
Thanks so much, guys. Thank you for being with me. If you have any questions, or you don't understand something about Schmincke pens, about granulation, you can always write me in direct on Instagram. I'm always reading messages and replying, so if there are questions, feel free to contact. And thank you, Opus, for amazing host of this demo. Thank you, Pamela, personally. I love to do demo with Opus.